discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/bgunlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Josh and I are going to be doing a no run-through review for Root the Underworld expansion. Now, we have already done a run-through for Root and a discussion for Root, so if you want to know what we think of the original game, definitely go check that out and check out that run-through, because I really like how that run-through turned out. So, we are mainly going to be talking about what the Underworld expansion brings, which is the Corvid Conspiracy and the Underworld Duchy.
Underground Duchy.
Oh, I wasn't even right either way. The Underworld?
Underground Duchy.
It's because I'm Underworld here. So Josh, I'll let you kick it off. So we just got done playing a 3-player game with both the Corvid Conspiracy, the Underground Duchy, and Marquis de Cat. Which, actually, before we talk about these, one of the things that came in the expansion was a new rule of law, like a 4th printing, so it's, typos and it's updated. Also, what came, I don't think it came with the Underworld expansion by itself, but with the Kickstarter came a update pack, which came with all new balanced boards. I don't know if every single faction was changed, but I know for a fact the Woodland Alliance was, so that's really neat. And in this comes the what's called reach values. So it helps give you faction combinations depending on the number of players. So like at a 3-player game, you need 18, and each faction gives you a certain amount of points. So you're able to look at this and be like, if we need to get 18, we can do Marquis de Cat, the Eerie, and the Vagabond, or something like that.
Essentially gives you a threshold to meet or less than
higher.
Higher
it's
than.
meet or go higher. To actually have a balanced game. Now you could also look at the learn to plays, and they also give you some ideas. But I really like that threshold thing, because that gives you a lot of options in how you want to play the game. So
It really does.
With that being said, what do you think of the Underground Duchy?
It took me 2 turns, 2 full turns, to finally fully understand how these guys were going to work.
Yep.
They are, it says on the board, it says moderate complexity, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
Basically, you just have to leverage between card advantage and aggression output through tokens.
Board control. Yeah.
And these guys are weird. They play a little bit like a mix of it's Eerie.
The Eerie. Yeah.
Eerie Empire, Dynasty, whatever it is.
Eerie Dynasty, yeah.
And plays similar to that, and I would say kind of like the Cats. It's like a mix between the two.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because
you're placing buildings really quickly, and you're also...
You place buildings quickly?
You're not programming, but you have your deck of essentially your dynasty. Your, what do they call them? Monarchs?
They are ministers. Unswayed ministers.
Okay.
So basically, I'm just supposed to kind of persuade or bribe these various 9 lords. Well, nobility, I should say.
Yeah.
That are classified by noble, squire, or lord. Lord being the strongest, noble's like the middle, and then squire is the squire.
So they don't increase in points. It's just, if it's a squire, it's 1 point. If it's a lord, it's 3 points.
And noble are 2 points.
2 points, okay.
Every time I remove the crown from the game board, and then they each have varying effects. The lords are the strong ones that give me a score equal to whatever. So, like, this one's plus score a point for each citadel on the map. Score 2 points for each tunnel on the map. Score a point for each market on the map. The mayor says take an action of any noble or squire that I've swayed.
And you get those points, like, you do those abilities...
On my 3rd phase during my daylight, or my 2nd phase, so...
Okay, so whenever you would score those, after that is whenever you can sway?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to clarify, so that way you don't, like, just drop someone and be like, 10 points, because I have
Yes.
5 tunnels out.
They did a lot of thinking and brewing with how to make these guys fair.
Yeah.
It has the price of failure, so like whenever I have a building get destroyed, I have to remove my strongest one, and if it's tied, I pick. But the strongest one I have swayed, I put it back, and then I permanently remove a crown, so I can't keep scoring points by employing them. And eventually, like if I don't have a thing to put on their card, I can't do them anymore.
Right.
So
yeah, there were probably one of the most interesting factions just because of how much you almost have to manage. And with Root, a lot of people, I remember whenever we first demoed these, we got to see more of them in the demo than those guys, but everyone was like, people are like, oh, they're unbalanced. Like every faction is unbalanced if left unchecked.
Oh yeah.
This game brings in so much negotiation. In fact, the game we just played, there was so much like you didn't have a lot of points, but you had so much board presence, more than Cat did with the cats. And you had like these lords out that I was like, you're getting free buildings, you're getting cards, and you're about to get a shit ton of points. And I was like, I can't kill him.
I'm like, Seth's in the lead.
Yeah, I was
large margin,
and I was, and because the Corvids were left unchecked with their plots, but we'll get to them in a sec because they are so cool. Like,
I like this.
I thought they were really neat because you have, unlike the Eerie Dynasty where they do have special abilities, essentially those guys get exiled, and you can bring your if I destroy a building, and you get rid of your lowest one. You can still bring them back.
Highest one.
Your highest one. You can still bring them back, but you're going to slowly start dwindling your opportunities, but you're still going to be able to get those points.
Yep.
And try and capitalize off of them. And I really like that because at the very beginning of the game, actually, playing with those, they're going to seem almost OP. Because it's like, oh wow, you can just essentially spawn 4 people, or if you're building tunnels, your burrow is adjacent to everything with a tunnel. There's nothing that we can do about that. There absolutely is. Like, you just have to understand, and this is just with Root and the asymmetrical aspect. You just have to understand how each faction works. So once we were able to grasp what they did, I was like, oh, so you need cards to be able to even to sway those. Okay, well, I'm going to start destroying your markets. Oh, I don't want you dropping 4 people on me. Okay, I'm going to start destroying your citadels, which I was luckily able to do to keep you from just spawning so much. It's just, each faction, it's essentially like a tug-of-war aspect with everyone. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, okay, well, if I'm pulling too much in this, everyone has to rein me back in.
See, this is a very well-crafted, and I think I said, I don't remember exactly, it's been a long time since we played.
Since we did do the recording, yeah.
But I do remember loving this game a lot, and playing this, adds so much more depth to the game.
Right.
I really dig this faction a lot. Like, if we were to play again, I would quickly pick this or the Eerie if I were to choose. Yes. Mainly because they're the 2 I've played, but they're 2, I like both of them a lot.
Right. And you know what, actually, while we're... no, because you haven't played any of the expansions. I was going to say we'll also talk about the Lizard Cold and River Cold, but we'll talk about them in a little bit, because I want to go over the complexity over each one, because this is the newest faction. It adds, so there's 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total factions, counting the second Vagabond. But yeah, they are very cool. They are not unbalanced. They're definitely able to do what every other faction is able to do in some way or another. So what were the other things on the back? You said the complexity was moderate.
So complexity was moderate. Aggression is moderate. Card wealth is high, and crafting ability is moderate.
So essentially moderates across the board. The aggression is interesting because you could easily play aggressive
if I really wanted to.
Yeah, and you could easily craft too because you can swarm so quickly.
What was it? Second, I built my first castle. 6 people.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, so it's just insane. And then just the sheer amount of points, because what they do with their nobles is the more you have during their third phase, they go and do all of their abilities just in a row. So essentially you have your 2 actions, which is limiting because 2 actions is not a whole lot. But the more people you have, it's like, oh, well, okay, well, I don't get to move a lot, but I'd like to. I'm going to grab this guy that lets me move.
And then, like, one of the nobles, the mayor, lets you take an action of any of the other noble or squires. So, if I had any of these out...
Noble or squire. I was like, but you can double lord it up? No,
I can double noble.
Uh-huh.
So
if you really needed to move, you can then spend your other actions not moving.
Yeah.
Like, you can just have your swayed people.
I could have the brigadier lets me move twice or do combat twice, and then the mayor, I could do the brigadier again.
Yep.
Or, like, the banker is spend any amount of cards revealed to get that equal amount of victory points.
Oh, okay, you spend them, not reveal them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better.
I could have used the foreman, whatever, to reveal a card and then place a building for free in a clearing that I control.
Yeah.
Move for free, initiate battle for free. Like, essentially is just about trying to generate a lot of card value and then play these guys as soon as possible and then go on the crazy train of like I get 2 actions and then I get an extra action essentially for each.
Yeah, because essentially what you want to do is you want to get as many people out that you can and then protect your buildings.
Yes.
Because I think that's what hurt you the most was I think I destroyed 1 building because I happened to get a bomb out before that just wiped everything, but then Kat started like marching upwards and then sweeping to try and get her dominance. And in case you're wondering, in a 3-player game, it was a really good game. Like, I was kind of worried with this kind of game that I was like, you need 4. 3, because of the way that they have it balanced, was super solid. I won with the 30 points, but Kat and Josh both played dominance cards, which it essentially became this kind of like King of the Hill thing, where it's like,
very attrition-y game.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, if I don't do anything, and you don't do it, then Kat's going to win, and then you play the dominance right after, that's like, oh crap, are we going to be able to stop him? And then because I did what I did, then it made you both, it's like, oh, okay, well, Kat, you're going to have to kill him, because it's either I win or you win. It was so good. But that's the underground Duchy.
Duchy.
So next is the Corvid Conspiracy, which are all about plots, which is so unique and so cool. I can't think of really any other faction, because we were able to say that those were kind of like a mix between the Erie and Marquise. I can't really think of anything that the Corvid is like.
So the Corvid Conspiracy is a bit like the Vagabond.
I think they're more like the Woodland Alliance, if you think about it, because the Woodland Alliance plays their bases and sympathy officers, which if they're playing bases and spread sympathy, then they can get rid of those to basically kind of bomb an area.
Essentially,
they're probably the closest that I think to any of the factions because of the different types of plots. But
you have the Vagabond aspect just because it's like you play in plots, so you're hoping to not like people are hoping you won't do something extreme to them.
Yeah,
because the bomb plot is disgusting.
But see, and that's what makes this game just so brilliant, because they have four plots. They have a bomb, which is whenever flipped, it destroys all enemy pieces. It doesn't matter if it's a token, it doesn't matter if it's a building, it doesn't matter if it's a warrior. It just wipes everything that's an enemy, and then gets removed. Snare just basically prevents people from moving out or pieces getting placed in. Extortion takes cards from people that are in there and causes them to draw more cards. And then Raid is only when removed, you place a Corvid in every... So, what makes them unique is that they have very little board presence. I think this is the most I had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7 was the most I ever had on the board. Which you might be thinking in a game like this, oh, that sucks. It does... But there's a couple reasons that make them really good. One, they don't care about the ruling. They can move wherever.
Yep.
Which is amazing. 2, they are able to recruit faster. Like, you get a lot of people in one place. The cats also can...
you get one person in each location of a revealed card, which is insane.
Yeah, so I just basically can look at it and be like, oh, okay, I'll do Fox. And then I place one person in each Fox area. And so that gives them so much flexibility in how they want to spread their plots. And so they have... So with their plots, how they get points is essentially they place plots down, which requires their warriors, and they have to also be in that location to be able to flip a token. So you have to manage your warriors, essentially your workers more than anything, efficiently, because you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of this one, place a plot, and leave it there. It's like you can't do it. You can't thematically activate the plot because you have no one there to do it.
That is not okay.
So what's really cool is that if it does flip, then they get a point for every face-up token. Now, the only token that gets that gets removed from the board after use is the bomb, but that's because it's so OP. Everything else, people have to go out of their way to actually remove it. So you can easily, as the Corvid, you don't even have to interact with others. You could go to locations that are empty and just be like, or with one faction, and be like, all right, I'm going to place a plot here, and... either they leave it alone or it's empty, and so you're just trying to capsize on points, because I think it's like you get 1 point, and then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and they just kind of, that ball that's going down the hill.
Snowballs.
It just snowballs.
I think also, like, the whole being left unchecked thing it's definitely there because of the whole, you would have won... immediately on the start of your turn, had Cat not have destroyed 2 of your tokens.
2 of my tokens, yep.
And then it got to your turn, and it was by luck of dice. Granted, I don't know the odds of the dice.
I mean, there's 3 zeros, there's 3 threes, 1, 3 ones, and there's 3 of everything.
So, like, the odds were 1 in 4 that you get, or no, you needed what?
I needed 2.
2 or higher?
Yeah.
So you had a 50-50 chance of winning.
Yep. Because I had to destroy your building, because since I had 5 out, but since Cat destroyed 2, I was at 26, it brought me to 29, and I set it up in such a way that it's like, okay, I can go and destroy a building and get a point. But these guys are also extremely interesting because of their plots. And so you might be thinking, oh, so how do you get rid of them? Well, they have what's called exposure, which means that anyone who's in a spot with a face-down token, before they do their evening, they can show a card matching the clearing and guess what it is. And if they're right, the plot goes away. It's just like, all right, that's that. If they're wrong, you just say no, which now limits, because you were able to see that there's 2 extortion out, so it's like, oh, okay, well, now I know that it's 3 options. And then if you say no, then if there's another faction in there, then it's like, oh, now they get a chance to guess. And so far, the big process of elimination, if everyone's in the same spot. So that's what makes them very balanced and interesting, because if everyone's in one spot, it's going to be almost too obvious that there's a bomb there, because I'm trying to kill everyone and everything in there. But you also can play mind games with him. These guys are very mind game heavy, more than the rest of all the factions. Because you could be like, no, it's not going to be a bomb because that's too obvious. Oh, wait. But he's going to think that, so then that means that it is a bomb because they're going to think that it's too obvious, so they're going to pick something else. So you can play with others, and I really like these guys.
I like them a lot, too.
Like, they add a sense of more player interaction, I feel like, not so much on the board but off the board because of the mind game.
Retroactively,
right?
Reactively,
right. And so their things were complexity low, card wealth moderate. Sure, I mean, I'd say probably card wealth was pretty low because they only ever draw 1 unless they have extortion out. But I guess they're probably doing the moderate because a lot of people are going to be guessing, like, what there is, and you could potentially gain. Aggression, moderate, probably also take into account the bomb. Like, I barely battled. And then crafting ability is high, which is interesting to think about, because their crafting is done in areas with face-up or face-down tokens. So if you have these cards, like, I kept going to Fox areas because I had that favor of the Fox cards. That's why I quit trying to go over there, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna be able to craft this and just wipe everything from every clearing. So these guys are a blast, and initially you're gonna think they're broken because I'm gonna get rid of a mouse. Okay, I just go in every mouse clearing. Yeah, but those are 4 people I'm getting, and I'm probably gonna be using at least 2 or 3 of them to place my plots.
To place a plot.
And whenever you're placing plots, it's not just 1 for 1. If you place 1 plot, then it is just 1 guy. But then you have to use 2 people to place another plot. And if you want to place a 3rd one, you have to use three people, which is why the raid tokens are important, because it's like, okay, yeah, get rid of it. Stop me from getting an extra point, but now I'm getting 5 people, or I'm getting 4. So now that's more people that I can use to move around.
To make more
plots. So these guys are really cool. I don't know if they're quite my favorite. I like all the factions. Like,
that's a sign of a well-made game.
It really is. It's like everyone's able to do something that makes them like seem OP, but they're not. Like in any game with
it's balanced.
It is balanced. So like the Corvid conspiracies, yeah, were low complexity. The Vagabonds are moderate complexity, moderate card wealth, moderate aggression and crafting ability, low. I would agree with that. The Woodland Alliance is complexity high. I would agree with that. Card wealth moderate, aggression moderate, crafting ability high. They were actually balanced. They were part of the expansion that was balanced. They no longer get a point off their first sympathy, and I think they get 1 less 3. I'd have to look at the first one, but then you have the Eerie, complexity low. Really?
I think whenever we did this the last time, the complexity of it was considered low because it's pretty straightforward. You wanted to be super aggressive.
Well, I guess so. Like I guess complexity is like they're easy to understand how you play them. You just go down the line. But I guess to do them well is pretty difficult because it's easy for me to see like, oh, you need to move into a rabbit clearing. Oh, okay. Like I'll just make sure you can't do that.
X amount of.
Yeah. So card wealth low. That is true. Crafting ability moderate. Even though no one's going to be crafting with them because they only score 1 point. Because they have a disdain for trade, and aggression high. That is true. Then you have the lizards. The lizards are so fucking fun. They are so cool.
We're crazy church people.
Pretty much, like, because they have like basically anyone who dies, if you kill any of their people, they become acolytes, and they spend acolytes to do crusades, convert, and sanctify.
What the fuck?
And see, their convert, for example, is they can spend 2 acolytes to remove an enemy warrior in an outcast clearing and place a warrior there. So it's just like, oh, okay, well, this guy is now a lizard. Like, they're really interesting, but like they're super cool. These might be my favorite faction, but their complexity is high, card wealth high, aggression, moderate, and crafting ability high. That's pretty accurate. And then you have the river folk. You have played with these guys. Sheridan played
the beavers
as them. They're basically they're the Monopoly
merchants
because they become very dickish late game because it's like, oh hell yeah, I'll keep giving you more of my people, but they're not spending them. They're just keeping them in their funding. So you're like, oh, I need people, and like they're just like,
dare you
take
what? Them from me?
Yeah, so they have complexity high, card wealth high, aggression low. That is accurate, and crafting ability moderate. Yeah, that sounds about right. So with the new ones, with the Duchy and then the conspiracy, they just add so much to the game. Like, oh, and then Marquise is a complexity low, moderate, card wealth moderate, aggression moderate, and crafting ability moderate. I'd say their aggression is pretty high. They almost have to be because they're just a battle march.
They're in every clearing except the first one or the furthest one.
The furthest one, yeah. So yeah, like between the two, the Corvids and the Undergrounds, which one do you like better?
I like your faction, I think, more.
Okay. Just
because they're fucking weird.
They are weird, and they're very conniving because it's like they just have that way about them. It's just like because it's like if you use the raid tokens and people don't guess that, then it's like get rid of it. I want you to. I want 5 people on the board.
Maybe something you didn't bring up. And whenever they're face down, they count as an extra hit.
Yeah. So if you're defending in a in an area with a face-down plot token, it counts as an extra hit. And I believe in the rules it says you don't even need warriors there, so it's guaranteed to actually deal 1 damage back.
Guaranteed to kill 1 person.
Yeah, so that is very interesting. It sucks when they're face up because then they do nothing, and you just have to be in there to actually defend your tokens.
But then that adds another level of strategy to the whole. Well, I needed it face up for this long. Now I need to have it broken so I can place it somewhere else that's beneficial, and then generate points off of it. And then
because luckily you get them back, and you have 2 of each. So it's like, okay, well, he used a bomb, but he got a bomb back. So now would he place another one? Because whenever we did this, did you expect that to be a raid?
I think in the recording you can hear me say one of the options. I even say it's too dumb for it to be that.
Oh, were you thinking there was a raid?
I was like, if it's a raid, it's purely because it's something I really wouldn't expect.
That was my whole point, because I was sitting there and I'm like, the only thing there that wouldn't do anything for him is a raid. So I'm like, because you always have that suspicion of a bomb, and like that will never. I think that's what makes it interesting, because that'll never go away. Because it's like, oh, would he place a bomb there? He might, because whenever you remove tokens, no matter when, you get points for it. So it's like, would I place a bomb here? Or would I place a bomb over there just to remove one of your tokens?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. And the good thing is you can do exposure if you have pieces in there. It doesn't have to be a warrior. So if I did place one in there, you would still get a chance to be like...
roll and be like, please,
yeah,
please.
But what made these really cool, especially with the plots, is you have to have a clearing. So if you're with them, you reveal your hand a lot. And each time you revealed it, you happen to have a card that I had a plot in, but I was like, damn it. But it's like, if you're revealing it, I'm like, oh, he doesn't have a mouse. I'm going to place this token in here for it to be a bomb, because you have to guess before your evening.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, there's a lot of behind the scenes trying to manage with the Corvid conspiracy. I was like, I already forgot the names. So I love it. I think it's just as balanced. I think that it would be so interesting to have a 4 or 5 player game, hell, fucking 6 player game.
That sounds insane.
With these new factions in there, because I mean, like I said, we just played as a 3 player game, so we don't quite know how they're gonna work in higher player counts. But I think it would be just as efficient, because you're going to have so much being thrown at you that this game is just about, Seth is in the lead, or Seth's not in the lead, but I have these plots all over the board. It's like, well, he's not really a threat. Oh shit, he's got 6 points. Because unlike the Eerie where they go up like fucking 8 points, it's like, okay, throw him into Dynasty. Oh, you have 5 bird cards in your thing. You're losing 5 points.
Yeah,
they just keep snowballing. I love it. Now here's the question: do you think they could do more factions?
I don't know how. Honestly, whenever you said you had new route expansions, I didn't think it was feasible to make more.
Yeah,
and these work fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's super balanced. It sounds like they made a few erratas to make things more balanced, but like, if it's to help balance your game and give it sustainable life, I'm fine with that. And it's not anything that's like, oh, your game was broken,
right?
You're fixing it. No, you are tweaking it to make it work more efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like the Woodland Alliance losing an extra point at the beginning, I mean, I don't feel like it's gonna change all that much. And the fact that in the Underworld expansion, it did bring in a new map.
Yes.
So that's we haven't played on the new map, but essentially you have a lake which is in the middle of the map, and there's a raft. And so to cross the lake, you have to use the raft, and you want to because you get to draw a card.
You get to draw a card, and then the raft moves with you. So wherever you stop, it stays there. So people have to move around there to use it.
Yep. And so that makes it very interesting. And then the mountains is you have mountain pass that you have to spend cards to clear, which give you a
impassable pathways.
Yep. And then once you do that, then now it's going to kind of cause people to be moving a certain way. And there's a tower that if you control that area, you get a point for it. So external ways that aren't direct conflict with points. And then there's also the new deck that was an expansion, which just adds way more kind of like player interaction points, because a lot of these were just crafting where it's just like, okay, I'm just going to do that. But like Saboteurs, at start of Birdsong, you may discard this card to discard an enemy's crafted card. That's really nice, because once people have certain cards, it's like, well, there's no way to get rid of those.
There's no way to get back from this.
Mm-hmm. So I think that just this, and I'm glad that this wasn't like something that you shuffled in here.
Yeah,
like,
that would just be fucking chaos.
It'd be insane. So like, I like the fact that it's like, okay, take this one out, put this one in, and see how the game works. So there's a lot of variety, not just in the different combination of factions, but the map that you're playing on. Because I don't know, you weren't there for this last one, but the last time we played, it was the Woodland Alliance, the Eerie, the River Folk, and the Lizard Cult, and we played on the snowboard, like the snow map. And what this does is, one, it's different types in the river's horizontal, but you take these markers, and I have resin markers, but you shuffle them, and then that's going to change where the factions or where the territory types are. Which is going to change control, which is going to change how dominance, or not dominance so much, but how that's going to change that one, because you need to control 3 bunnies. So each map does something completely different, and you have such variety now. These two do not break the game in any way.
Nope.
They're fantastic. They're absolutely unique. I would agree. I don't see how they could do more.
But like I said, I had no idea they were going to make more.
Yeah, so I mean, they could. I mean, I love this game so much, so I'd buy it immediately if they're like, hey, we got 2 more coming, like, because this one's called the Underworld expansion, so the other one could be. What do you think? What do you think they could do?
Well, let's see. They've done moles. They've done corvus or crows.
They have crows
/ ravens.
Yeah, they have eagles, so they already have bird people.
They have bird people.
Water. Like aquatic.
Like actual aquatic.
Yeah, they have the beavers, which are kind of the closest.
Beavers, and they have like lizards, alligators, whatever.
Sure. But I think they could do like the frogs, which might actually be the.
They could do a desert theme.
Oh yeah.
They could do
have like a desert. Well, they have a snow one. They just did a mountain. Desert one would be interesting.
Where they have like elephants or camels or something.
Yeah. I think they could probably get away with one more if they wanted to continue doing expansions. They could probably make it to where it's like 11, 10 if you actually just don't do a second Vagabond.
Yeah.
And I think that would round the game out. Do maybe one more map, a double-sided map with, like you mentioned, deserts and whatever other type, deserts and swamps.
Some biome.
Yeah. Which would be really intriguing, and then just call it like, because right now actually they're working on a game called Oath, which is. It's kind of a similar style where you as players dictate kind of the way that the game is directed. So, I mean, I'm intrigued, but I think this is more than enough at the same time. So what would you give the Root Underworld expansion?
The expansion, I'm going to give it 9.5.
9.5? Yeah, like, I think I'm going to give it a 9 just because we don't quite know how they're going to work at higher player counts.
At higher
I would completely envision that they work just as well, like every other faction does. I mean, initially everyone's first thoughts would be like, "Oh, they're broken." It's like, no, they're not. You just have to realize what they can do, and that's just going to take a learning curve. Root's always been it's an asymmetrical game. It's going to take a learning curve.
Yeah, it's not going to feel balanced.
Right. So I'm gonna give it a 9, and yeah, I don't remember what I gave Root.
I don't
initially,
either.
But I'm gonna have to give it a 10.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat.
At this point, every faction is so much fun to play that I could be handed any of them and have a great time. And it's gonna be like, oh man, who am I playing against? Okay, it's the Eerie, the Duchy, the Corvette, and the River Folk. Oh, how's this gonna work?
After this, I went to my top 10, and I'm like, I know Root's on there somewhere, couldn't remember, and it's my number 10 spot, and I'm like, I like this more than some of the games, so I'm thinking I'm going to have to redo
your top 10 again? Move it up?
Because this game is so fucking good.
It is.
It is phenomenal.
And it just
Who made this?
Leader Games. Patrick Leader. who I met. Very nice guy. I met him at Gen Con a couple times. He's super cool.
Sir, you have made a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly well balanced. Whoever all your play testers are, fantastic job.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I hope they do another expansion, like kind of what we were talking about. That'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, so that's our thoughts on the Underworld expansion. Let us know what you think of that and Root if you'd like in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.